talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Welcome everyone to Talking Fishing, a big show coming your way tonight as always, and what a fantastic long weekend it was for fishing in Victoria. A great variety in Catch of the Week tonight, including a monster Mulloway off Black Rock, Kingfish continuing good numbers, and a nice Barramundi from Hazelwood Pondage. Then there's the marlin bite off Bermagui. Wow, is that place on fire. Also tonight, we talk about the fishery off Port Lincoln in South Australia. There's plenty to talk about, so let's get into it with a big welcome to the man who travels by kayak. Adam Ring, welcome, Ads.
Thanks, Dave. And another long weekend in the bank, and we finally got some good weather for it. Good for the kayak, though it didn't actually get wet this weekend. But it was a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to Catch of the Week because it fished exceptionally well. You
talk about the weather and forecast for potentially a 40-degree day on Sunday. There's some good weather ahead of us still and some good fishing, but it's always a big welcome to the man all the way from Shepparton, Stephen Victor Trelford. Welcome, Trelly.
Thank you very much, David. Thanks for the intro.
Love it. It's a big day. We're going to talk about how things are up your neck of the woods as well.
Yep.
Like to hear about they're letting too much water out of Eildon. Got someone writing into us tonight on Kramer's mailbag. Not happy with the water coming out of Eildon. If you could stop that, they wanted to see if the Mayor of Shepparton could stop that. So, and a special guest tonight, all the way from Tackle World in Port Lincoln. It's a big welcome to Shane Hodgens. Welcome, Shane.
Thank you.
Mate, you've come into the big smoke. You've come to the lucky state in Australia for fishing. Let's just talk a little bit very quickly about Port Lincoln. What is the attraction of fishing? If you were to sum it up in a few words, what is the fishing in Port Lincoln for recreational?
It's probably the pristine coastline, the pristine water, and just the amount of fish that we've got. So it is good compared to other parts in the state in South Australia. It's a brilliant area.
Yeah. So I never quite realised until I looked at the map today, and it just shows you're kind of remote. I mean, if you had to drive to Adelaide, you've got to go up and around, don't you?
Yeah, it's about a
long way.
And yet you've got a big city. What's those big white things on the screen there? The big white buildings?
That's the silos. So you got the working port there with all the grain, and that's a very busy port.
Most towns that'd be the Hilton.
Yeah. Well, the Hilton's actually just around the corner from it. So it's
guaranteed. Back in Melbourne, they'd turn silos into a Hilton, wouldn't they? They'd be selling for $4 million a room or something. Time to come buy a silo or whatever. So you got pristine waters because you are quite remote. What's your number one fishery in Port Lincoln?
It'd have to be the whiting.
Really?
Yeah, whiting is still, that's the king. So King George whiting, that's still by far the most popular fish. But
sharks.
Great whites. There's quite a few of them around. So we actually had one only a couple of weeks ago that scared a few people out of the water. So that was hanging around.
Well, they swim at Port Lincoln as well as fish, do they?
Yeah. People still get out in the water.
There you go. So, plenty of time tonight to talk about Port Lincoln. Don't worry about that. But folks, let's have a look at what's been caught by the people at home. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano, providing reliable, trustworthy, quality fishing gear for your enjoyment.
I'm not very happy with the first one, I can tell you, boys. What? When you've got to work and your mates go out fishing without you, and then as a joke, I send a text message going, oh, your phone's obviously broken because I haven't seen a photo of a kingfish, and have a look what gets sent to me next. Michael Buxton with an absolutely beautiful yellowtail kingfish, over a metre long.
That's a real king.
Yeah.
And lots of boats out there, boys. Like this kingfish fishery has been going since easily December.
Yep.
It's now mid-March.
And doesn't look like slowing down.
And the punters are not slowing down, are they?
And you weren't on the boat and he caught the biggest fish he's ever caught. What's that to you?
Oh, that's, something about Michael's not going to invite me anymore.
David Banana.
That's a cracking kingfish.
That was a ripper.
Now, that was Saturday. Sunday tops it off with the biggest cuttlefish I've ever seen in my life. Have a look at this, Michael Buxton again. Now, that I don't think the photo does it justice. It only just fitted in the net. And I'm going to talk about that cuttlefish later on the program, but they are monsters. And reports, that was off Sorrento, but reports old Tom, down off Rosebud, he got some big ones on the weekend as well. And I'd like to talk to you, Shane, later on about cuttlefish, because you hear about them, they spawn or something in South Australia. If you know anything about that, we'll hear about that. But just, that's a magnificent
that's a big
cuttlefish. I actually had some sashimi on the weekend, and it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Cuttlefish sashimi.
Yeah. Just cut a little sliver off and had it raw. Absolutely beautiful.
Roll it in the ink first, or?
No. I'll tell you what, there was plenty of ink. There's a lot of things rolling in the ink on the weekend. Let's have a look at this one. Another yellowtail kingfish from the Rip. Sin Sepic. Got this lovely, that's another one well over a metre. Look how bright the tail is.
Yeah,
I know you get them over in your area too, Shane. But this is special for Melbourne.
That's a special fish. That is a good sized fish, and I'd be happy to catch them back in our waters.
Yeah.
Obviously, we get some really big ones, but that's a beauty.
Port Lincoln, is it? It's not really in a bay. It's oceanic water, isn't it?
No, it's in a bay. So we've got it is a harbour. It's about the same size as Sydney Harbour. So there's a lot of water. So, But we've got the Boston Island out the front, and we've got a series of bays all through Port Lincoln.
How far out to the ocean water?
You still, like, to get to your proper Southern Ocean, you're probably talking still about a 40k hike down south of the coast. But still fair way.
Talking about out on the coast, those of you prepared to go offshore, there is some fantastic kingfish, and none other than this place that a few people are starting to talk about, Cape Patterson, which is heading down in the Wonthaggi, sort of down towards Inverloch area.
Been a little bit of a sleeper in the kingfish locations.
Absolutely, and not too far to go out the eastern entrance of Western Port. That one's a 16 kilo model, and well done to Kane Ricketts on that. That is a cracker fish.
Big chunky fish, isn't it?
That's as good as it gets.
An old bait runner too, I believe it.
It's a ripper.
All right, let's have a bit of fun with the kids, and there's nothing better than seeing the kids, the big smiles on their face, and none other than Evie Rosa Jordan.
Oh, look at that.
Have a look at that. You reckon she's very happy catching that little
photo. That's a great photo.
Out from Williamstown. She's going to remember that one for a fair bit of time, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely.
Wind in the hair.
Flathead. We haven't had a flathead feature for a while.
You were flathead there for a minute.
But Peter Zenonis.
It's good flatty.
He got a lovely 60 centimetre off Port Arlington Trelly.
That's right.
In your neck of the woods down near Trellies in Geelong.
That's right. Yeah, that's a nice flathead too, isn't it? You get a couple of nice fillets off that one.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now your boys, Chris and Nate, have been saying how good the whiting are down that way. There's pinkies on the spoil grounds off Port Arlington, but obviously some good.
And they're catching pinkies and pinky snapper off that. There's a yacht that's sunk off the end of Cunningham Pier, around that area there somewhere. There's a yacht that's sunk. There's only about a metre of the masting out of the water, so target that. Let you know.
It's already established itself as a good route.
It is, I've pulled up in a couple of weeks.
Have a look at this. This was just a little bycatch off Black Rock. Thank you very much.
A little bycatch.
And a 16.8 kilo Mulloway. Get them in Port Lincoln, Shane?
Mulloway, you don't catch a lot in our area. They're sort of more right at the head of the bite. And that's a very good fishery up there.
Yeah, okay.
That is a seriously big Mulloway.
And I got actually pop that one back up if we can. Alex actually wrote to me today, and he just goes, "Caught the Mulloway in the Black Rock area. It was a very welcome bycatch amongst the pinkies. I've taken quite a few dewies in my time, but none as big as this. So I've taken it to the taxidermist to get its skin mounted." You've got to be happy with that, and as you would, you'd do something with that fish, because that's a
true
fish
trophy
of a lifetime. Reece Smith. He headed down to Hazelwood Pondage, and he writes, "Hi guys, reports have been quiet on the Barra front for Hazelwood, but back lake, but I had a crack last night." Now this is 2 nights ago, and ended up hooking a Barra. Also had another 2 boofs that I missed. Great to see they're still doing okay and in pretty good condition. Lots of small bait fish too, which is a good sign. That's interesting because I don't think that would be tilapia, but there must be some other bait fish in there. Yeah, and that's a cracking fish by Reece, so well done. Heading up to the freshwater scene, cod and yellow belly. Well, we had a hot spot last week, Murchison, we said.
We did.
Apparently a few people went up there, including Steve Vesey. that a typical cod out of there, Charlie?
That is a typical cod out of that area. Yeah, it's a nice looking. They're great fish. Look at that.
His kayak.
Yeah, and a yellow belly.
Yep.
Some of them are a bit more golden than others.
Yeah, I think it depends on the water that it comes out. You know, a bit like the fish down here. It can be deeper water or dirty water.
Some of them might look a little bit silvery black compared to that one that's quite golden.
That one's beautiful.
What is it? Cleaner water makes it golden or darker water?
I think your cleaner water will probably make them a bit more silver. I think your dirty water might make them a bit more golden.
Yeah.
But they certainly do change colour.
There you go. Heading up to the Barmah Forest on the Murray River, I believe, Trelly. Matt Walker.
Yeah.
A lovely Murray cod there as well.
Yep.
Now, Matt's from around your neck of the woods.
Yeah, he's a local policeman up that way.
You didn't take him to the conference, did you?
Apparently you said something.
No, put that one back up if we can. Have a look.
I picked it.
Because,
what's wrong with that pick? Everyone got told not to use
the bright green lip grips.
Not allowed to use lip grips anymore. We're meant to be educating people. This guy wouldn't be in an education role at all, Charlie, would he?
No.
No. Because you're meant to wear a glove now these days, aren't you, to look after the cod?
Yeah.
He might have had gloves on, but he had a lip grip.
Had a lip grip.
Yeah.
How big was that fish? How big was that fish? Was that within the slot limit?
Yes, of course.
That's why I had lip grips. It was going home for a fee.
All right, let's have a look at the lucky last. Kerry got a lovely gummy shark off McLaughlin's beach, and
not a small
we're going to refilm the end of How to Do Catch of the Week because there's a new way to send in your pics, and that's tap a bloke on the shoulder at the Johnny Farnham concert on Saturday night, and you end up on TV. I tell you what, these blokes are in fine form.
With a good fish to back up.
Yeah, there you go. If you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@ifish.com.au.
And next on Talking Fishing Fisheries News, including all the info on a new female network of anglers, right after this.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wear the line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing.
Every day's a chance to drift away. Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See it down and tackle world today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
Always plenty of news in the fishing scene, but we're going to rush through it because we're going to talk about Port Lincoln and how good the fishing is over in South Australia with Shane. Let's kick it off. The first headline is New Women in Recreational Fishing Network. That's not new women, it's New Women in Recreational Fishing Network.
Okay.
You've got to say it right to understand what it is.
Confused,
Right, an innovative, I knew you'd be confused. I'm going well, aren't I? Can I start again? An innovative new Women in Recreational Fishing Network has been launched on International Women's Day, which was last week, to encourage more females into fishing and promote the popular pastime as a healthy and active outdoor activity for the entire family. Victorian Fisheries Authority CEO is Travis Dowling, and he said a dedicated social media group on the VFA Facebook page will be central to the new network, boys. So what they, we did the survey.
Yep.
This is part of that.
Okay.
A bit of a roll on from that. So if anyone at home wants to have a look at what we're on about, go on to the Victorian Fisheries Authority's Facebook page, and there's a little tab on the left-hand side that says Groups, and click on that and you will find the new Women in Recreational Fishing Network. Now, the new Facebook group is here to provide a place for females to discuss, share and engage with other women interested in recreational fishing. Females of all ages, fishing skill levels and experience can join the group, post pictures and stories and learn from one another in a supportive digital environment. The new group will be a wonderful place for women from all walks of life to talk fishing, whether that's simply sharing a video on how to tie a knot or asking for tips and rigging and baits. The Facebook group is part of the state government's Target 1 million plan, which is investing a record $46 million to get people fishing. And a slide just there was down at Lakes Entrance, I believe, on the weekend at the, what was it called?
Hooked on Lakes.
Hooked on Lakes thing, so they had a little stall down there. But look, I mean, who knows? Next year it mightn't be the Housewives of Housewives of Melbourne, is it? Might be the new series, the Fisherwomen of Melbourne. Might be the new TV series, and we'll get the flick. It went on to say, the formation of the group is a direct result of the VFA's Women in Fishing survey last year, which was completed by nearly 1,400 women. Amongst the survey feedback, women indicated they wanted a comfortable place to discuss fishing and get advice from other females who were already wetting a line or diving. And as I mentioned, get onto the VFA Facebook page and look on the groups. Now, great idea.
Yeah, great idea.
I think we may need to use it to find out. We should just. I don't know if we're allowed to post on there, but how about we put a post on there? Do you reckon women can back a trailer down a ramp?
I was going to say boat backing classes.
Do you reckon if we posted that up there, we'd get much of a response?
Oh, give it a go.
I
reckon you'd get banned from the group pretty quick.
Have they got a nickname?
No.
No,
you can make it up. We've got a week. You've got a week to. Okay.
Are you sure?
Shane, is there? This is innovation, right? Where the state government, the fisheries department, is getting women and setting up a group. Is there any innovation in South Australia? No.
not in that department. But look, yeah, I think
you must see what happens in
idea.
Victoria and go, how do we get a government like that?
Yeah, well, we've got our state election this weekend, so hopefully we get some changes, and South Australians are screaming out for it, especially fishermen.
Has any of the political parties promised anything for fishing?
Oh, both. Yeah.
They have?
Yeah, both. So there's 20 million in net buybacks.
Yeah.
We've got the reservoirs which are looking to be open. The current state Labor government has already opened a few and restocked them, and hopefully we've got the reservoir quite close to Port Lincoln. We're hoping to get that opened up. So
what were they stocking there?
Well, we're hoping for cod or yellowbilly. That's what we're hoping, but it is quite saline. So we've got to wait and see. There still needs to be more tests.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. The headline and the next one, Macca's make a comeback. Macca's are making a comeback in the Ovens River, and we're not talking cheeseburgers here. Recent surveys on the Ovens River by scientists from the Arthur Riley Institute captured nearly 70 Macquarie perch in just one day. That's incredible, because 6 years ago the species was considered regionally extinct.
Wow.
It's all thanks to a combined effort by government, conservation interests and recreational anglers who've worked together stocking fingerlings and translocating larger maccas from other waters in northeast Victoria. You know about that one, Charlie?
Yeah, I reckon Anthony Forster would have had a fair bit.
All over it.
Yeah, all over it. Yeah, he loves his maccas, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's head of freshwater fisheries under Travis. Yeah, so
quite often seen in the drive-through.
Yeah.
But he loves his maccas.
That's right, yeah.
The ARI surveys also captured Murray cod, trout cod and river blackfish, confirming the Ovens is the jewel in the crown when it comes to our native fisheries. Improving inland fisheries, all part of Target 1 million plan, investing a record 46 mil to make recreational fishing even better in Victoria. There you go. And lucky last, fisheries research at work is the headline. Recently, this is raw stuff. This is good. I don't think this happens in too many places. Recently, I'm serious. Recently, our abalone management. So there's no. It's a
season's over, is it?
It's a buy. It's a bit like a buy in the AFL. Yeah. There was a bit of a buy in the abalone poaching market this week.
Yeah.
Recently, sorry, I'm getting yelled at for not reading what's on the screen. Recently, our abalone management and science team took advantage of the great weather, surveying 8 sites between Flinders and Cape Schanck on the Mornington Peninsula. At each site, divers swam along a series of transects, counting all abalone seen. A collection of 25 abalone were then sent up to the surface to be measured. These surveys help provide information on the abundance and size of abalone, which is essential for informing stock assessments and quotas for the commercial fishery. Funded by the commercial fishing licence fees, so a little bit like some of our projects by RecFish fees. This is funded by the commercial fishing licence fees to ensure a fishery independent source of data. Hopefully good results lead to more Victorian abalone going to Victorian consumers.
They were doing for nothing last week and the week before.
The week before that.
Yeah. Well, the week before that they were counting how many poachers they could get along between Flinders and Cape Schanck.
They should have just been, what did you get, buddy? Where'd you get them? Right, trot it down. Back you go.
Send them in even if their tanks are empty.
That's right,
Charlie, would you like to do the next fisheries news item?
No worries. Now, this is the Stevenson River Tree Planting Day on May the 5th this year. Come and join us, restore the healthy riparian habitat. Healthy riparian habitat is it's the edge of the river bank. So if I can get that into some sort of natural state, you get all the feedback. You get the insects, and you get the bugs, and then you get the shrimp, and then you and then you get the fish going. So it all helps down the track. So we're Merryton Lane, Marysville. When 10 a.m. May the 5th, 2018. There's some prizes there donated by us. Trolleys in Shepparton, and there's an RSVP Facebook which has got a lot of numbers on it, which you'll have to look at the screen because I'm not going to read them out. Thank you very much to VR Fish and Goulburn Broken Management Catchment Authority, which do a great job up that way.
There you go. Be a big fun event.
People
are aboard that weekend. Get amongst it. Yeah.
Plant a tree because we need firewood down the track.
Alrighty, Port Lincoln, Shane. Let's talk a bit more about Port Lincoln. Would it be right to say that it's famous for the commercial tuna fishery?
It is, yeah, absolutely. So that's probably the number one employer in town.
Really?
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What, in processing them or feeding them, or
the whole works and jerks. So, like currently at the moment, they're all the tuna pens are being brought back. So they're all most companies have caught their fish.
Yeah.
And they'll bring them back.
When you say bring them back, what, towing them?
Yeah, they'll tow them in a great big pen, and they'll tow them back. They'll tow them back to the back of Boston Island, which is just outside of Port Lincoln.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, they'll fatten them up for close to 3 months. And 3 months, 3-4 months.
What do they feed them?
Pilchards mainly, so it's all pretty much pilchard. So the pilchard guys, they're going hammer and tong as well. So they got a.
So you got a net fishery for pilchard.
Yeah.
That is gathering pilchards to feed the tuna.
Yeah, yeah.
They pay a fair bit for them?
I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it is.
So do you have trouble getting pilchards for bait when you're competing against feeding a tuna farm?
We don't.
Because we have a lot of trouble getting pilchards.
Yeah, I know. We're pretty lucky because we can go straight to the source. But yeah, I have heard there was one pilchard processor is now no longer processing them for bait as well. Yeah. So it is getting harder.
And is the tuna fishery, from a recreational point of view, is that easy to access? I mean, if they're going out and get them off Port Lincoln,
year after year, it's actually getting better and better. So this year we've actually had them come right up, almost right into Boston Bay. So
really?
And that's only like for someone in a tinny. And a lot of the other tinny guys, they've just been going out off some of the beaches, beat launching, and they're like a kilometre out, and they're into tuna. So
really? Do you have a certain size class, or is it like us where we get a 10 kilo one week and 100 kilo the next?
Well, see, where we are, most of our fish are school fish, so most of them are all under 30 kilos. We do get barrels, but there's not a lot, so not like what you get sort of up around Portland and Port MacDonald. But we do get them from time to time. I have been told by some divers this year that a lot of those school fish, they've had a couple of big barrels in those schools, so there's more getting around.
Seems to be the tuna, or southern bluefin tuna fishery, is getting better in all parts of Australia. Up next, product of the week. Plenty more right after this on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Product of the week, brought to you by Tackle World.
Talking Fishing.
We couldn't ignore the blue water fishermen this week with the kingfish bite being red hot and quite a few marlin being caught up the coast of Bermagui. We're going to have a look at a blue water range of rods by Shimano, which is fairly new. It has been on the market for a little while, but there's some new and interesting models that are going to be added very, very shortly. So I guess what separates these rods from most blue water rods was the way in which the idea was conceived. Basically, we've seen an explosion in boats over the last 5 years. boats aren't getting any smaller. People aren't afraid to buy big boats, and in order to do that, it can be quite costly to deck them out with 4, 5, 6 combos, depending on what you're doing. So Shimano put their heads together and come up with a blue water rod that you could buy a set of that wasn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, and you could go out and enjoy the blue water just like everyone else. And what makes them very interesting, they're actually on an E-glass blank. Now, we are very used to talking about graphite when it comes to game fishing, as power is absolutely essential. What E-glass does is give you the power, but it also gives you the durability. So for those that aren't exactly confident or are still feeling their way through, I guess, the craziness of blue water fishing, because it can be hours and hours of absolutely nothing for 15, 20, half an hour worth of absolute chaos, and stuff can go everywhere. These rods will take that up. There's about 9 models so far in the range, covering everything from trolling, like this rod here, which is a fully rollered, typical fully rollered setup, all pack bay components, E-glass blank, pack bay winches. For, I guess, your tuna and marlin trolling. There's swordfish deep drop rods. So they kind of cover a little bit of everything, aimed at those that want to deck their boat out in nice, fresh, new game combos for the season. There's one in particular that I want to focus on because I think it suits our market very well. And trailer, you've got it there. It's actually a game spin. So this is a 15 to 24 kilo outfit. Why I was drawn to it particularly is because there was finally a rod that most people could afford that could actually house the 20 and 25,000 size reels that have become quite popular. That on? So that's a Saragosa 25,000. Yeah. So whether we're talking that reel in particular or the Spheros 20,000, it was always a bit of a crazy thing. I mean, jig rods are getting quite light and they're getting quite small, so the big reels are not really balancing the outfits very well. So for those that want a live bait for Kingfish or take them to Portland, Port Mac, Port Lincoln, and are a lot more comfortable using spin gear than overheads, they can actually do it. So a nice, I guess, perfectly weighted rod for a big spin reel, whether you want to fish braid or mono, it's going to do all the right things. Now for us down home, there is a lot of people that want one combo to do a little bit of everything. Yeah. That rod, is being glass, is quite soft in the tip. So if you wanted to put a big bait down in fast running water for a gummy shark, or you wanted to drift offshore for your gummies in that 30, 40, 50 metres of water, that's the perfect combo for it. So it is very versatile. Spin reels in game fishing have gone from strength to strength. I don't know if you've noticed it down your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it has taken a big part of the overhead market.
Yeah, they have, haven't they?
And now there's a rod that is affordable, with great quality. I'm pretty sure they're all Fuji guides too, not Pack Bay. So Pack Bay rollers, Fuji standard guides on the spin models. That's going to become a very handy combo, and I think you'll see a few boats down at Portland in the blue water decked out with these in the future.
And these spin rods, are they coming in different, some different classes? Like that's a 15 to 24?
Yeah, so that's that might even be a straight 15. I think that's the only spin model at this point. There's a 24 kilo fully rollered coming.
10 to 15.
There's detachable bent butt rods. There's the whole kit and caboodle. So I know we're running a little bit short of time, so definitely pop into your local and have a look at the tag and rods. But we have actually got a short video put together by Shimano showing the tag and rods in action. So Kev, hit the button, mate. We're ready.
There's a few marks on this one, and Skipper tells me this little guy caught him a marlin yesterday, so hopefully he'll do the same thing for us today. Come on. That'll be all right. Right.
done, boys.
Well done, mate. Great fight.
There you go. Tag them.
That's how good. Do you know how good those rods are? Even Guy Sebastian can catch a fish.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a very quick question before we move on.
Yeah.
Do you get people looking at combos like that, Saragossa 20,000 and a heavy spin stick like that to tow big lures for cod?
Rods, yes. Yeah, we do get a few rods. Not that big a reel.
So what reel would they put on that? Just a 10,000 or 5,000?
Yeah, probably a 5 or an 8,000, but yeah. But I'll let them go.
Yeah.
More on this big.
Yeah, go for it.
You're happy, don't you worry about that.
Hey, Shane, you mentioned earlier on whiting. You got a good whiting fishery over there?
We do, yeah. No, we've got some really good areas at the moment. We're coming into the good season right now.
Yeah.
So we get the big afternoon tides from here on in the autumn and right through to winter, and we do get some rippers. It is good. So
far from home? Like far from Port Lincoln?
Some of my best whiting fishing is actually shore based. Some of well, sometimes I don't catch as many as I would in the boat, but I certainly enjoy catching fish over 40 centimetres off the shore, and it's only 5 minutes from home.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The other one I wouldn't mind quizzing on is the cuttlefish. You mentioned earlier on the cuttlefish. Are they close by, and what's the go with the cuttlefish over there?
Yeah, the big area for cuttlefish is up at Whyalla, so that's about 2.5 hours north of Port Lincoln. In winter, the cuttlefish congregate around Point Lowley to breed, and they congregate en masse. So it's
like, how many are you talking when you say en masse?
Tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. So
really?
It's only 5 years ago there was the numbers had crashed.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it, but they do their surveys and their counts. So I think it was about 5 years ago, and it was as low as, I think it was around 15,000, and last year it was up around 300,000. So
you have a closed season while they're doing that?
Well, actually, there's an entire closed area.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to catch cuttlefish pretty much from Cow right across to Wallaroo on the other side of the Gulf, and that is a massive area. It's a huge area, and it's pretty much to protect those cuttlefish.
Yeah.
And
Jeez, I'd be buggered, wouldn't I?
That's probably why you can't catch any down here in winter. They're over there this morning.
Might retire there.
Good info to you, and I have to go and pay a visit. Up next, Kramer's mailbag and a story about mistaken identity. It's heartbreaking. Right after this on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
From apparel to footwear, the Performance Fishing Gear collection is built for fishing of all kinds. Whether you wade in sun-scorched saltwater flats, hike into mountain rivers, or fish anywhere in between, we want to keep you out there and keep you protected. As well as pants, shorts, and vented shirts, the collection includes arm sleeves, neck gaiters, hats, and shoes with drainable midsoles. The apparel and footwear in this line are built around fishing, but can be used in any setting, handling the toughest environments.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
A little bit of mailbag we want to rush through because we want to talk about a lot of things still. Let's get into it. This was sent from Shinger.
There you go.
Shinger writes, "Hi guys, great show. Read the comments on Audi and BMW driving abalone poachers, getting their abalone on the weekends. A lot of people of all nationalities like eating abs, and we only get 60 days a year to go get them as they are hard to buy in shops. We go when we are allowed. Just saying that most divers are responsible and obey the limits. The reason some use air tanks is to get crayfish, which are hard to get on just one breath. We don't need any more closures as the resource is very sustainable, according to the Abalone Divers Association and the Victorian Fisheries Authority." From Shinger. Well, that's true. I was only
and we've got nothing against those that take them
that drive
when they're allowed
Audis
to.
or BMWs. Nothing to do with it.
Extend the season for them.
Just a comment. Sorry about that. Clive writes, this was in relation. Remember we said about the full moon? We want to hear people's opinions. Now we've got a lot of opinions. I didn't write them all down, but Clive writes, "My best catches for King George whiting in Western Port have always been during the full moon from darkness to dawn. The last 2 hours on the ebb tide, I've caught them at other moon phases, but less and in smaller in size. from Clive at Mornington. So he's saying that the
Night fishing
best thing
full
is
moon.
night fish on the full moon.
It is good. It is very good.
Same in your place.
Yeah, it's
do you,
absolutely
do you get a
brilliant.
full moon in South Australia?
Yes.
The government hasn't taxed it.
No, they haven't.
You only get a three-quarter or something.
Really.
All right. Richie Benno. I don't know if that's his real name. It says Richie Benno here.
I reckon it's Richie Benno.
G'day guys. Wondering if you could give a hand to Joe Greco and the Fish Ranger app. Maybe a shout out to fishermen, boaties, businesses, etc. to help Joe keep this fantastic Fish Ranger app up and running.
Yeah.
You ever been on the Fish Ranger app?
It's actually pretty good.
I mean,
it's really good.
There's Bomb, there's Sea Breeze, there's Willy Wonka, or whatever it is, and there's Fish Ranger. And I find Fish Ranger very, very useful, but Richard's saying it's on the way out and he needs some help. So maybe look up Fish Ranger on the Facebook page. This app is very accurate on the water conditions, keeping so many fishers, etc., safe on the water. Any ideas or help you guys can manage will all be in the direction of safe fishing returns for many. Here's a screenshot of a sad news. Oh, he put up a screenshot. We haven't got it here, but Joe's saying it's pretty much all over unless he can get some sponsorship. So
okay.
That's sad. Cameron writes to us, hi guys, love the show. Am I able to purchase a few of your stubby holders? That would be awesome in my boat. Well, we've had to employ a managing director of the stubby holder department, and we do have some stubby holders on the way. Kevin, get onto it. Linda writes, hello to all. Hello, Linda. I'm writing to say, although not a fisherwoman, I thoroughly enjoy watching your show with my husband and kids aged 8 and 12. And we've all learnt a thing or two, probably off Trelly. Bad habits, I would say, more than anything off Trelly. I must say the general feel of your new set is too official, dark and cold. The sound is dreadful and not as relaxed as when on the couch, as though you were live in my lounge room talking to me. Do you think we should have a public poll? Not pole dancing, that's a pole, it's a different sort of pole, Charlie. And so we all go. And see if people prefer the comfy couch old set or the new cold, dreary pole. I do look forward to your reply from Linda.
The sound issues, we'll talk to the technical department about that. There should be no difference in the sound.
No, I'll talk to the boys in there. Who's that? Victor.
Yeah.
The sound man. Victor. Get it right. And Kevin would be heartbroken because this took like 8 months. 8 months to build this bar. He'd be heartbroken if we got rid of it. Sorry, Linda, we're sticking with the bar. If you'd like to write into Kramer's Mailbag, this is what you do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
Now, talking about cuttlefish, boys. On the weekend, you saw it in Catch of the Week. Michael Buxton got a fantastic cuttlefish, and we've got quite a few good sized cuttlefish. Now, Michael's got this thing. He's got time in his hands. Right? When it comes to fishing, he's doing the job, and he's got this way of cleaning a cuttlefish where you don't spill ink. Now, this is a big cuttlefish. I think we've got a photo of it in the net, and I'm going to run tape over that net tomorrow because that's a pretty big net, and that cuttlefish hardly fitted in the net. It was a big cuttlefish, probably around the 4 kilo mark. It's a bit hard to tell in a photo like that because they sort of all, they sort of curl up when they're in a net because they think life's nearly over, which it was. And so that cuttlefish, so Michael gets it on the cleaning board, and he was showing, he dissects it it's a great way. His technique of cleaning a cuttlefish is absolutely fantastic. And most of the time it's very, very clean, and you get the most, have you seen cuttlefish meat? It is pure white. It's very nice, and actually when you cook it, it looks beautiful when you cook it. It's very white. And just over my back shoulder, I could hear him whisper, I think I've had a blowout. and have a look at the next photo. This is Tony and Michael. Now, if anyone knows cuttlefish ink, that
hasn't come off yet.
That is a mess, and they could actually get arrested there for doing armed robbery, and the ink's gone off in the money sack because they were black. Their hands were black, and
probably still are.
If anyone knows how hard that is to get off, I'm sorry, Michael and Tony, but I just had to show that photo because. You had a blowout, all right, I can tell you. The other one, I had great stories on the weekend, was a story, I missed going fishing on Saturday with the boys, and when I did get that terrible text message of a nice metre-long kingfish, the word also came through that they got 4 kingfish, and I've got a photo of the fish on the deck, which I think we've got a photo here. Oh no, that was a photo of Jonathan holding up the kingfish
and
there.
Probably just giving away the whole punchline. Yeah.
I have given away the whole punchline. Let's go to the next photo, and I've got the photo on the deck there. And so they got one that was well over a metre. And of course, when you're fishing in 50 metres of water in the rip, and it's mayhem, and they've got a kingfish on board, then they've got 4 rods going, and they bring 3 fish over the side. Now, I'm telling you, those other 3 fish in the middle there were well over the 70 odd centimetres. Yeah. The problem was when they got back to clean them, they had scales.
Not so good sashimi.
And not so good sashimi because they realised that they were very, very big salmon. Those 3 salmon there came from 50 metres of water on squid strips in the middle of the rip.
Far out.
That is incredible.
They're big salmon.
And Jonathan's dream of having sashimi that night and a bag full of kingfish in the freezer was just demolished in one foul swoop when they realised the scales. Settle for the rats, anyway, but that is incredible, the size of the salmon that we're seeing in the bays, and at that depth is incredible, but we have seen so many salmon.
Yeah, that's right. They've started to school up big time, just outside the heads as well. And Shane's sitting there going, you call them salmon?
Yeah. Shane, you recently did an episode of iFish with Paul, didn't you? On big salmon in the surf?
Yeah.
Are they that size?
Over
well,
winter,
you only got small ones in South Australia.
in winter, you're going to catch like 4 kilo fish, so that's what we're after. And there's some you do get some good ones offshore at the moment. There's some rippers. A couple of weeks ago,
you get the big schools busting up and
massive ones. And just recently we got one fishing for kingfish, and it was a 6 kilo salmon. So
wow. And of course, when you get them on board, they're quite dark on the back.
That's right.
In the mayhem, you go, that's a kingfish. Get the other. Where's the gaff? Where's the net? All the mayhem. And then you get them back, and they've got scales on them.
How do you cook them, Shane?
In the smoker.
You don't?
They go in the smoker.
In the coals themselves.
Alrighty, coming up next, we've had enough laughing about our friends that go fishing. Coming up next, this week's Hotspots. We'll be back shortly on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
G'day, Callan here from Paul Worslam's Tackle World Cranbourne.
Supercharged batteries have been supplying maintenance-free marine batteries since 2001. The Seamaster Gold range is second to none, delivering superior starting power and reserve capacity. No need to top up with water, truly a fit and forget battery. With up to 2 years replacement warranty, you know you have quality. Your battery is your lifeline. Without it, you're dead in the water because it's bloody hard to push start.
I've got a Seamaster battery in my boat.
Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for.
Hotspots, brought to you by Seamaster Batteries. Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Just before we get into the hotspots, Shane, you do a radio show over in Port Lincoln, don't you? You do fishing reports on the radio and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have hotspots?
We do. Well, we go through. We've got to pretty much go from Elliston, which is up on the west coast, about an hour and a half, up to Cow, which is about an hour and a half on the east coast. So
do you have a regular time when you do that?
It's on Wednesdays at 2:45 in the afternoon.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
People want to tune into that? What's the station?
Yeah, 5CC.
5CC.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's get into the hotspots, and we can't go past this one because while it's on. You just got to take advantage. The rip for yellowtail kingfish it's got to continue to be a hotspot, and just the amount of people that are enjoying, probably their first yellowtail kingfish it's got to be a record this year.
And it's good that it's consistently producing, because in previous seasons there's been plenty of fish there, but they've been quite patchy.
And I've got to say the weather's been good this season
that's
too.
right.
The rip can be a very dangerous place, and I'm not sure that too many people have been in there in dangerous conditions. It's been sensational, some of the the weather patterns that we've had for the kingfish. So, all right, a few land-based options, because people are always writing to us about land-based options, and it's going to blow this weekend, so we need some land-based options. The Mornington Pier is the first one, and great calamari coming from there.
That's right.
We're talking to Mark Dunphy from Shimano today, saying this is out of a picture of Japan. 200 people on the Mornington Pier.
Really? Shoulder to shoulder.
Really?
Yep.
Shoulder to shoulder calamari. Something you'd see overseas is now happening in Port Phillip Bay.
You'd shoulder a couple in.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened, Charlie. Seriously.
Yeah. But it is an amazing fishery, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's not just confined to the pier. Don't be afraid to jump onto the rocks. Obviously, the weather's going to be a little bit crazy, but they do get bigger as you move onto the rocks. Yeah. So. There's
a bit of west in the wind, though. It's a little bit protected there at Mornington Pier, so the waves might crash over the back of you, but the fish are okay. The other one that's quite good in a northerly is the Flinders Pier and some big models of
This is where you're going to get your big one.
Yeah. You can see that, the direction of the map, if you know the map, quite protected from a northerly, obviously big cliffs and that near there too. So it's if you can get that on a high tide, it's very productive for
got to have a baited jig.
Big colour.
Yeah, definitely throw your squid jigs around, but always have a baited jig in the water. Just all the big ones seem to come on those.
Absolutely. Alrighty, another one which can be a little bit wild on a northerly, but quite often in the afternoon the northerly dies down, and this pier is going to be one of the best to fish late afternoon and into the night is Cowes Pier. There's been some nice pinkies because the pinkies, it's that time of year, the water will start to cool just a little bit now, and as it cools, gets through that 19 degrees and down into 18, the pinkies will really come on, and gummies at night as well.
Yeah, that's right. It is a big fish pier. You got access to pretty deep water off the corner, and you've seen everything over the years, from big snapper, gummies, to seven gills and bronzies and whole kit and caboodle.
All sorts, Let's head inland now, and a place that's on fire, I got this out of your fishing report, Trelly, because it's so hot, is Bonnie Doon. Lots of redfin around Bonnie Doon at the moment.
Yeah, there's the weir, I think, still just under the 70% mark.
Yep.
There's a bit going out because irrigation, that type of thing, sort of happening at the
moment. Hasn't been a lot of rain, has there?
No, not really, but it just means that the lake itself will probably keep pretty clear.
Yeah.
That Bonnie Doon stretched right out to Brackett Creek or out to the main arm there.
Yep.
Always fishes pretty well. We're getting some nice reports of redfin and yellow belly in that area. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. There you go. And lucky last, get to Lake Tyers for the dusky flathead. Most of the holidays are over, bar Easter, of course, but now's the time to get down to Tyers. That water, again, will cool a little bit, and it's great time for dusky flathead before we get into, say, May and June, where it does really start to cool and things, they'll just go slow a little bit, the flathead, as it gets colder. So enjoy the very warm weather that we've got, because Lake Tyers, big dusky flathead and warm weather, they just all go together for some champion catches. And I talked to Frank Melito, it is on fire. I should say going off.
Yeah,
it's going off.
But it's definitely a system that's really cemented itself. It was always a little bit hit and miss, Lake Tyers, but it's come to play in the last few seasons with the big duskies. The brim are always good. Depending on what happens with the entrance situation, you do get some big trevally and tailor and things in there too. So definitely an up-and-coming fishery.
Shane, question for you. You talked about Murray cod in your reservoirs and stocking them. Have you got cod nearby now, anywhere?
Well, in the Murray, that's actually there are a lot of big
Where does
ones.
that come out, the Murray?
Down the Agula.
Yeah, which is anywhere near Port Lincoln?
No idea.
Nowhere
near it.
Nowhere near it. Between Adelaide and the Victorian.
Yeah. Somewhere between Perth and Sydney. A little bit south, though.
The middle.
Yeah. So, is there any impoundments with cod?
Yeah, there are. So they've just started restocking some of the impoundments sort of north of Adelaide. There's a few other reservoirs which are looking at being stocked. Hopefully our reservoir, the Todd Reservoir, it's only like half hour over the town. Hopefully we can get some cod put in there.
So, any of the ones that have already been stocked, any fish reached a mature age or length that are fishable?
It was fishable now. I think it's so the reservoir near Spalding, which is I think it's about 2 hours north of Adelaide, and that's actually proven to be quite successful. So they've put silver perch in there and cod. I believe there's been a cod like some decent size, sort of around that. Around that 40 centimetre mark, and they're only released as fingerlings only like a couple of years ago. So
that's good.
They're growing quite quick.
Yeah, they're growing fast, and they're also and they're cleaning up all the all the unwanteds like your mosquito fish and all that sort of stuff. Any carp or redfin that's in those as well, they're all being cleaned up by the cod.
Yeah. Southern calamari, they abundant around your area?
There are masses of them, all year round. But it will start usually from April. That's when they come in masse. You just get heaps of them. And,
are they protected at all as well?
No. We've just got we've just got a bag limit of 15 per person. No size.
That's generous.
Yeah, it is.
But we've got 10 here, so That boat limits on anything?
45 for squid. For your calamari.
Because
So
that's something they don't have here. So a charter can go out with 10 people and get 100.
yeah, so it's 45 per boat. That's the maximum
What
amount.
about your oysters though? We see those at the pub over there. They're like
Coffin Bay.
Coffin Bay. They're like.
And we've only got about 10 seconds for the answers, by the way. So no, it's all good. Coffin Bay oysters good.
I don't like them at all. They're good bait.
Oh.
Really good bait.
Good bait killed Patrick. That's good. Hey Shane, thanks heaps for coming on the show.
No,
appreciate it. Good to have a little bit of difference.
Yeah, it's always good to hear about somewhere else.
So it is awesome. But thank you very much for coming along tonight. It's been brilliant. That's it for Talking Fishing. We hope you enjoyed the show. This weekend they're forecasting very hot conditions and strong northerlies. So please be careful if you're out in a boat. It's perfect for land-based fishing. Just pick your location out of the wind and enjoy wetting a line. Until we see you again next Tuesday on Talking Fishing, please stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.